Welcome everybody.
Hi.
We're having our first deck talk, and you're out here on the beautiful Kansas prairie, sitting on our deck. And today we want to talk about what does it take to be a good reseller. So, HappyPicker and I, this is Lori, and I'm Kyle. We've made up some questions to talk to each other, and hopefully you'll join in the discussion down below, and we can have a good talk about just what it takes to be a good reseller. Recently, we were in Las Vegas talking to some other resellers, and I brought up the topic of, how really hard is it to be a reseller when you've got your phone and you can look up what's on eBay and what's sold, and the thing's sitting right in front of you at the garage sale. You can just buy it, and when you see that it sells for a lot of money. So how hard is that? So what I thought we would do is just dig deeper into that topic. And so, Lori, would you want to ask a question, or you want me to go first?
I can go first. All right. Hang on. There we go. Where do you think is the best place to buy merchandise for reselling?
I have real strong opinions because for the, I don't know, 20 plus years we've been reselling, I enjoy in-person auctions the most. I feel like you get the best bang for your buck there. We're pretty rural where we're at, and we'll go even further rural to go to the auctions. So if you find a nice estate where it's a farm, they're clearing out everything, nobody wants anything, and so the opportunity to buy at that auction is really good. You don't have a huge competition there, and usually it's mostly local people, and maybe one or two have come from the Kansas City area up to bid. And so we buy lots and lots of things at auction in person for just a few dollars. One thing one example I remember was a lot of tools that you bought was
Hmm.
just a beer flat, and it had, I don't know, maybe a dozen things in it. And I think you won the whole thing for just a couple dollars. And there was a thing in it we didn't know what it was, and we did our research, and it took a long time. Turned out to be a stick grenade from the Vietnam era that we sold for like $250. So it just, the other stuff in the box we sold for good money too, but the home run was that stick grenade. So
Yeah. And I asked a bunch of people at the auction what it was because there were people there I knew. And there were people there that knew tools, but none of them knew what that was. We took a chance and scored.
so what's your favorite or best place for a person to buy?
Well, I like auctions also, but second to that is kind of a tie for me. Do I have to pick?
Mm-hmm.
Are we showing off our drinks?
I was showing off this great American beer.
And I'm drinking Moscato tonight. I have to pick between the two that are tied.
Pick one. Yeah.
I suppose I'd have to say garage sales then. But the thing about garage sales, I love a good garage sale, and especially community-wide sales where you can go to one area and pick a lot of places in a short amount of time. Um, the thing that's limiting about garage sales is that they aren't happening year round, at least where we live in Kansas. So garage sale season here is like maybe middle of March till the end of October, maybe. And so you got to do your picking when the garage sales are hitting, and then you got to store up for a rainy day
Yeah.
during the winter.
Right. Yeah. And I think part of the reason I like the in-persons is they'll pretty well keep going all winter. They'll move indoors in some places, and you still can find auctions even in the winter in Kansas. My question: what are the top 3 things a new reseller needs to learn?
Wow, put me on the spot. It's been a long time since I've been a new reseller. So it maybe has changed since I was a new reseller, but uh, okay, let's see. I don't know. The top three. Top three would be to know your marketplace, where you're selling,
Where you're
probably
selling?
where you're selling.
So, like, you don't put certain things on eBay?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's in our inventory, we'll have things. Well, we have a booth also, But so our inventory either goes on eBay and is maybe then cross-listed to Mercari or Poshmark or Facebook Marketplace. Um, but we've just recently started doing the cross-listing thing. So for years and years, it was just eBay.
Right.
So you need to know eBay. You need to know how it works, and you need to know what your fees are so that you know how much to spend and not to overspend. You need to know how shipping works, and you need to know how to take advantage of the discounted shipping on eBay. I know people that use eBay, but they take their stuff to the post office and buy their labels there, and when they could be getting the discount.
I think you've already
So
wiped away every person that's new. Just quit our video. You overwhelmed them. It's too much.
well,
I think.
learn. Okay, learn
What's
your
the best way
marketplace.
to learn about eBay?
Well, there's a lot of good YouTube videos. Not that I have any of them.
No, we haven't
But
had any good videos now.
not about eBay, not about using eBay. Um, yeah, you got to read, you got to learn, you got to ask questions. Oh my goodness, ask other resellers. We're happy to share information with you. Shoot me a message on Instagram or on YouTube, and I'll help in any way I can.
And you got to make mistakes. I mean, that's the way you learn.
Yeah.
Everybody's done it. You bought that thing that you thought was so great, you put it on there, and you end up giving it away, and shipping eats up your profit, and you end up with nothing. Well, you learned, and that's, I mean, one of the best ways to get better at something is to make mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. But okay, that was just one of.
That was one. Maybe we need to work together to get our three here.
So one was know your marketplace.
I think understanding. A lot of resellers say this in the videos that you make your money on the buy. Understanding that you should not be ashamed to negotiate or afraid to negotiate, like at a garage sale. Um, just the other day when we were at one, I picked 3 or 4 things together, and there was no way I was going to pay exactly what they're asking because I can't do that. I got to get it as cheap as possible. And I went up to the table and I said, "This is $15. We take 10." And she said, "I hate people like you." And I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry that you hate people like me. Do you want to sell it?" Or I didn't say that, but you know, all they can say is no, and that's okay. Then don't be offended when they say no. Just make sure you know what you want to pay. If 15 would have been okay for us, I think it probably would have been. I'd still paid it, but she was willing. She took 10, so I was able to make a little more money. The price is what the price is when you sell it. That's why you're making your profit on the buy. So you can't overpay. You just can't do it. Now,
And it never hurts to ask. They can say no, but if you didn't ask, you don't know.
right, right. And I think the third thing would be,
But a new reseller needs to know shipping,
yeah, shipping,
how to ship, and
how to
how to
pack
pack
and ship.
and ship, and how to get the best deals. And um, yeah, it depends on where you're shipping. Like Poshmark or Mercari, they provide the labels. Labels. Oh, Facebook Marketplace also provides the label. So eBay's the one that's makes it a little tough to figure out and learn, but it's really not that tough. It may be intimidating or feel intimidating, but it's not that hard.
You'll get the hang of it.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't let any of it intimidate you. Learn little at a time. Ask questions. That's the new resellers. Okay, I think that's three's enough
Yeah.
for the both of us.
Yeah. Next question.
Sure.
Okay. Well, where's the best place to resell your merchandise? We talked about where to buy. Where do you think is your best place to sell it?
eBay brings you millions and millions of buyers. So, I mean, it's still number one. It's still the best. I like Facebook Marketplace quite a bit because there's not so much on the fees. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
that
a lot
expensive.
less. I think it's only like 5%.
But it's not as easy to sell on there. There's certain things that go. What are some of the examples of things that go well on Facebook that we've sold?
Well, I've been selling a lot of clothes on there lately.
Yeah.
So,
And we're not good clothes sellers. Clothes and shoes we have not figured out. So.
But we will, because we are everything sellers. So we are trying to figure out everything.
We're almost everything sellers because there's some things we just won't sell.
I think it also depends on what your objective is. Like, there's a big difference between selling on eBay and whatnot. So what's your objective? What's your goal? To move merchandise as quickly as possible. If that's your goal, whatnot might be a better option for you.
Yeah.
Versus eBay, where it's going to sit longer, but you're going to get higher dollars. So I guess you have to know what you want.
And we didn't even talk about Amazon. You can be an Amazon reseller, but every time I've tried to get into it, it overwhelms me and I quit. So if you want to know about Amazon, you go to
Somebody else.
what's his name? Reese. Reezy.
Reezy?
Yeah, Reezy resells. He knows that stuff upward, up, down, backwards. He's got it nailed. How do you build your online reputation?
Does it matter? Just to selling is the question. Because,
Well, your online reputation includes eBay. You have a
well,
reputation there.
well, that's what I'm saying. Is so that if you're talking about eBay, it's all about feedback. Is having 100% feedback, is that significant to somebody that has 95% feedback?
Oh,
I don't
95, I
know.
won't buy from them.
Really?
No, that's terrible. 98, I question whether I'll buy it. So
I just wonder how many people are actually looking at feedback before they hit the buy button.
I agree. I don't know that it's as important. But it depends on, like I said, if you're new on eBay and you have 50 feedback, that's not very much. So you can't have a couple of negatives. Nobody's going to buy from you at that point. You really got to be excellent in the beginning and really build that reputation.
Yeah, well,
At our number, what are we at? 4,000,
I'm closing on 5,000.
5,000 feedback.
Yeah.
If we have one or two misfires, I mean, we don't want that, but it won't kill us. People will still buy from us.
Yeah, and plus it actually only calculates it over the last year, not the lifetime.
Yeah,
So your
that's true.
last year of
That's
doing
true.
business.
Yeah,
So they will go away if you make some mistakes. They aren't there forever.
right.
But
You should try and avoid them.
yeah, I mean, I think just providing good um, customer service,
Right.
doing a nice job of packing, um,
Well,
and
in your listing, honest, honest, honest.
oh yeah,
It'll only hurt you if you try and, well, I just won't quite say that it has this little flaw. It won't be a big deal. No, disclose everything. Be fair in how you describe things. Be honest.
stuff still sells with
Yeah, as
flaws.
long as they know what they're getting,
Yeah.
they'll be fine with that. And I mean, think about yourself. I mean, when I buy something, as long as it's what they said it is, I'm not going to complain. It's when they try and hide things that you have trouble.
And I've
And good pictures. I argue with her all the time, but
but
they need to be good enough the person can clearly understand what they're getting. They
that's
don't
kind of
have
what
to be pretty.
you're getting off topic though.
Sorry.
The topic is what was the topic?
This really is the first beer. I don't know. Building your reputation.
Oh, the reputation thing. Oh yeah, and so I was gonna just mention that I started sending little thank you stickers in my packages, I don't know, a year ago or so. He thought it was dumb,
Still think it's dumb.
but I get comments in my feedback about thank you for or saying that there was a nice little thank you note or sticker or whatever it is. So people do notice, and it does make an impression, enough of an impression that they say something. So these I just do little thank you stickers. They're I mean a couple pennies a piece maybe.
Yeah. And we'll
So
use tissue paper and wrap the item in tissue paper before we put it in the box. Just a little. I mean, you do get repeat buyers on eBay, so every little thing can help you. I mean, I wouldn't go crazy and
yeah,
spend a lot of
no,
money,
we're
but
cheap. I'm cheap. I don't like to spend any unnecessary money, but I do think that packaging it nicely is just an important thing. So,
okay.
am I up next?
Yeah, I think it's your turn now.
Oh, next question. Huh. Well, maybe we've covered this, but is product presentation important?
Ah,
That's where you can talk about your pictures.
pictures. So again, I think the picture has to be in focus with decent lighting and clearly represents the item, fairly represents it. When I think about any item, I think about six sides to it. There's one, two, three, four, the bottom and the top, six pictures. And if there's any extra flaws, zoom in, give a picture of the flaw. and it's
anything critical, but
just give them as many pictures so they can feel like they're there with the item. They can see the whole thing.
and not just having a picture of all the sides of it, but having nice photos does make a difference. As an example, several years ago, we were trying to sell a wedding dress that was a vintage wedding dress from like the 1920s, I think. We hung it on a hanger and put it up for sale. And it was for sale for a long time. I don't even remember how long, and it wasn't really getting any interest. I finally said, or we finally broke down and bought a mannequin. We didn't sell a lot of clothes then, so we didn't really know if we really would use it, but we bought a mannequin, we put the dress on it. It sold like immediately for more than we'd been asking before, just because the presentation and how it looked was so much nicer.
It's not presentation, it's accurately reflecting what it was. It went from flat to 3 dimension. It gave it better representation.
Sure, but it was still presentation,
It's
how
not
how
pretty,
they
doesn't
saw it.
matter.
Yeah, grumpy.
All right. So we said, what's the best place to sell, right?
Right.
What if you're a brand new reseller? Is eBay still the best place to start?
That's I think that's hard for me to answer again because I've been doing this for so long and eBay is all that there used to be.
Right.
And that's what we started with.
Right.
But maybe just trying some stuff on Facebook Marketplace just to get your feet wet and learn about, I mean, just selling locally on Facebook Marketplace.
About a booth.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, a booth is great, but it's not, if you want to be in the online world of reselling, it doesn't really help you a whole lot. I don't think it's super beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. And it might help you learn what sells in your area, but not necessarily what sells nationally.
Yeah, and things that I sell in my booth are not things that I can sell online even
Yeah.
necessarily.
Right.
So,
How would you recommend a new reseller track their purchases, sales, and profit?
huh. Well, this is something that we probably need to know more about ourselves, but we've been doing it to the best of our ability, and we just track. We could probably do overkill actually. We track every single thing we buy. We have a spreadsheet set up. We write down, well, when we bought it, where we bought it, how much we spent for it, what we expect to make on it, and then when we sell the item, we update the spreadsheet with the sale price, the collected shipping, the paid shipping, and can see our net profit. It's a lot. It's a lot. But that's the way we've done it. We've done it for a long time. It works well for us. We can see how we're doing and where we're doing. Are we doing better when we buy things at garage sales? Are we doing better when we buy things at thrift stores? No. Are we doing better when we buy things at the auctions or at the Goodwill outlets? So it does help us kind of see how we're doing, and it is a good record for tax purposes to have that much detail. But
Yeah, that's it. We've done this, like I said, for 20 plus years, but we've only gotten super serious about the business side of it in the last couple of years and really intense in the last year. And I'm sure that we are overkilling it with how we're tracking everything. But I know that there's a lot of danger tax wise in not tracking how you purchased your inventory. So if you spent $20 at a garage sale, not getting that on paper somehow can cause you trouble. And so we're learning, and we're going to be talking to an accountant this year to make sure we're doing everything we can do, and at the same time being efficient. We are going to try.
my reseller genie.
Correct. We
What?
are going to try my reseller genie. It looks like a really affordable way to track things and do it in a way that is good accounting, good sound accounting. So we'll probably get that going pretty quickly.
Are you done with your questions?
That was my last.
Well, we must have got off somehow
Well, we
because
had too many pairs.
I have too much.
Too many
I have
matching
two more questions.
Well, a couple of ours match.
All right. What kind of profit margin should you be allowing?
Depends. And I think this is some other resellers have said this on their videos as well. Okay, so let's take things that are under 20 bucks. You know, it's got to be a material amount of money to me to be worth my time. So if I get it for $1, I better at least make 10 bucks profit, or I don't want to mess with it. There are probably some exceptions to that, like if you bought 50 of the same item and it's exactly the same, so you're only doing one listing, and you just throw it up there and let them sell over time. I might do it, for a few dollars instead of 10. When you start getting up into the bigger dollars, you
You
really,
can't make 10 times your money as easily.
yeah, you got to figure out what you're willing to risk for the reward. So if I spend $20, I want to make 50, 75, or 100. I don't want to just make 40 because fees and everything eat that back out. So it's really going to be what person's comfortable with. I mean, when we were new,
Yeah, I
if we
think
made 50 cents, we were okay with that.
it also depends on your objective too. Some people are just reselling to help fund a vacation or
Right,
just have some extra spending money.
right.
And profit margins are not as big of a deal then. I mean, hopefully you're still making money because you were spending time,
Well,
but
the biggest factor that you've got to remember is that your time is worth something.
yeah,
So if you were not sitting at home listing, packing, taking photos, doing all those things, if you were at McDonald's, what would you be getting? 15 bucks an hour. So if you're spending so much time listing a low dollar item that only brings you a few dollars profit, are you really profiting when you put your time into that equation? So
and gas and supplies,
yeah,
things
not
that,
even including those
yeah.
things. So count your time. That is, I mean, labor is the most expensive thing in any business, and it should be considered in yours.
Yeah, I have failed to do that. I kind of think of my time as being free, but it's really not.
And it's limited resource.
Okay, my last question is, and this may be depending on what your objective is too, but how often and much should you be listing items for sale?
I'm sold on what daily refinement taught, which is, depending on what your goals are, listing so that you're maintaining a 1% sell through. So if you want to sell
3 items a day.
3 items a day, then you need to get 300 listed. And how quickly do you want to get to that point? Once you get to that point, if that's your goal, 300, and you're selling 3 a day, well, then obviously you need to do 3 or 4 a day to keep up. Um,
To maintain,
exactly,
to
maintain
maintain.
your listings, maintain the revenue that you're wanting to generate. Um, that doesn't mean you have to do 3 every single day, 365 days a year. You can do what we do, and Lori will draft and set up a bunch of auctions, and then she'll release them just a few at a time, or what our goal is at a time. And that way, she's not trying to list 7 days a week.
Bank
So,
those drafts so that you can have a day off.
exactly.
Yeah, it also, I mean, daily refinement, I think, taught us that you should be able to expect a 1% sell through on eBay. We're not seeing that lately. Maybe for a while we did, but here for the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, I think we're more like a 0.5% sell through. So, although today was about 1%. So, I mean, but there's ebb and flow. Some days you're going to sell more, and some days you're going to sell less.
And I think we need to look at our buys and make sure we're buying items with good sell through. I think sometimes we slip and buy it because we like it, and we'll see a comp that's nice and up there, but we're not paying enough attention to, was that, one sold in the last 90 days and 400 are listed, or are we, more like 1 to 1? Now we haven't even talked about that for a new reseller. I think you have to keep track of your sell through, meaning if we found this special item and we look it up and see how many are listed, and there's 100 listed. And then we want to look at sold, not just listed, but sold items. We want to see about 100 sold so that we know within 90 days it probably is going to sell. That's a quick turnover. You dip under 100%, it's going to take more time, and you just got to be aware of that. So is it worth it to you to wait 6 months, to wait a year? How much profit is really going to be in it if it's sitting on a shelf for a long time? So it's just a decision you have to make as you grow your business and decide what works for you.
Okay, that was all my questions. think that was all my questions, right? Yep, that was it.
Okay. Now I don't have anything else either. So you guys get on there and add some comments and questions of your own. Tell us what you think. Tell us whether this had some value for you or not, so that we can learn where we want to go from here.
Yeah,
Like I said, we'd like to do these deck talks maybe semi-regular,
every other week, maybe.
maybe every other week. I don't know if I can do it every week.
And so we want you to tell us, like, what do you want to know? What do you want us to talk about?
What's a good next topic too? Yeah, that'd be great. I guess that's it.
All right.
All right, we'll see you guys
Cheers.
next time. Thank you.